Happy Sunday, Wiley here, checking in live with notes from the field, reflections. It's been a busy week. Sundays for me feel like the start of a new week. So the other week has ended. I did a lot of work on coding, just taking a break, getting ready to start listening to a podcast episode to code that. But what I was reminded of this evening is that you never know who's impacted by your work, and the fact that people can send you emails about it when you might have your own thoughts about it. You've probably seen me post about my Forest presentation, and I did have a good time at Forest. It felt like it's a Society of the Social Studies of Science. It was my first time there. I did feel like a guppy in the ocean, yet I did feel like that was a community in which that would be where my work speaks, or there could be spaces or pockets in there that you could connect with other people. And I had presented on the 5th, and I thought, like I said, the conversation went well. I think the other things that had concerned me about my talk was, one, when you're at conferences, there's so many things you don't get to control. Like the room that we were in, they weren't set up for AV, so they had to figure that out. That also pushed us back as far as starting on time. There's the fact that there were a lot of presenters that were presenting in the space during the time that I was presenting. So my talk ran into close to the break time, and for me, I'm often concerned when you run into the break time, are people really gonna listen? Because conferences are a lot of experiences. You've been listening to people talk all day, and you want to get your coffee or your snack, or you just want to have a few moments to yourself and just get it together. I still gave a good talk. People did ask questions and stuff like that, so it went good in that terms. But you don't always know. I won't say never, but you don't always know how your talk landed outside of the people that said things to you, which I could count those people. You never know, because people are listening. And then I did note that they sent an email maybe a week or two ago that they had recorded the presentations, because I did appreciate it was a conference that offered hybridity in terms of there were Zoom presentations. And I remember saying in one of my other videos, either on my podcast or just TikTok, that I was definitely gonna go back and listen, because I know I have until October the 7th, because there were some talks that I could not get to. So I was grateful to know that they existed. And all of that to say, I got an email tonight. I was just in my inbox. I was trying to find the parameters for this poster that I'm presenting for Elise, so I could start working on the outline for that. And I got an email from somebody that had attended the talk and just talked about not just solely how they appreciated me, but or the presentation that I gave, but about representation in terms of trans. I can't say for Forest, you saw a lot of people that were queer, non-binary, gender non-conforming people, and when I'm saying see, in terms of representation in ways that at a lot of conferences sometimes they're extremely heterosexual. But it was great to meet other trans people, queer people that were openly, trans, openly in their queerness, not just in terms of their research, but who they are as a person. And I know there are millions of reasons of why people are not out and can't be, so I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying I appreciated the space that you saw other people in all shades, in all complexities, in all body types, and that's always helpful. And it felt nice to get an email that somebody got something out of your presentation, and they shared who they are, and it gives an opportunity to meet other people. And I'm always grateful for that, because you never know, like I said, who's in the room, who's listening. And my goal for every talk is to be useful, to be effective, and to be helpful. That's all I got. That's my Sunday. I really appreciated to get that email, because I've been feeling like it's not enough sometimes, because not necessarily from the talk, but from how long it's taking me to code. I finished the 11th transcript today at 5 o'clock. I have one more to do. I'm just now starting to do the video analysis. I have a meeting with, one of Dr. Brock this week, and I'm trying to get as much of at least one of the episodes, or at least 2, done by the 24th. So I can have something to say, like how it's going. Yet it feels like, how am I doing this right? How do you do this? I've read all the notes. I'm getting ready to code it. I've listened to that podcast episode several times. So it's not that. It's just trusting yourself. It's trying things out and sharing it with others. That's what this process is. And leaning in it, understanding it. But even though while you might lean in it and you do this, as far as like the work itself, it doesn't mean that you always feel like, I know what I'm doing. Not when it comes to CTDA, which is critical techno cultural discourse analysis. I can tell you I know about interviews, but CTDA, I'm like, so it's something that I'm learning. I'm new at learning, and it's been eventful. So I'll let you know how that goes when we have that meeting and when I finish coding this podcast episode. But it was nice to get an email and learn that someone got something out of your presentation and got something else out of the conference, and I look forward to writing them back, because I'm interested in making connections with others. You never know, in the sense of meeting other people. So maybe the next time that'll be somebody I know and be like, oh, I'm looking for, if they show up. Because I did meet a person from my reading group, or a reading group that was back in 2023. So it was nice to put a name with a face with somebody that you spent time with on Zoom, and to, meet up with them. I wasn't able to go to the Black STS meetup group because I was going to Vancouver that day. But I did get to meet, the host of that meeting, and, they were in charge of the reading group. So that was cool. That's all I got. I'm calling these reflections, doctoral student candidate experiences at conferences, things that happened, things they said, notes from the field. Hope you have a good day. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Peace. Bye.